Welcome to another episode of Podcats. I'm joined today by some esteemed members from the PE department. And so I want to get to know a little bit more about you all and what you do on a daily basis for those that don't already know. So let's start with highest tenured to lowest tenured. Let's have you tell us a little bit about, what you teach, what you have taught, talk about your career ladder, maybe where you grow up and how you got to this point. So I think we know who we're starting with here, Mr. Kurt Brown.
Okay, so that'd be me. So I guess first question, my career ladder. I teach driver's ed and sports and fitness right now. I have taught personal development, Lifetime Fitness. I have not taught dance fitness, and I don't think anybody really wants to see me teach
you could
dance.
Do it.
No, they don't really want me to. I used to coach softball here with Mr. Franz, and other than that, I think it's like 28 years or whatever it is that I've been here. So it's been a little while. Grew up in the Rockford area, 2 hours north. Went to ISU and just decided that one day I was working in summer camps and realized I wanted to be a teacher. I originally started school as an accountant. That was the most boring thing I could ever do.
That's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea.
Rough.
And actually I couldn't have passed finite math, so I decided to switch. And I ended up going into physical education because it was something I was skilled in. I also had a mentor in high school that kind of helped direct me that way. He was the head of our national organization, and when he was the president when I was in high school, so it was kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know.
Here you are.
That's me, I guess.
All right.
In here.
Who's next? I don't know. I don't know between you two. Who's been here longer?
Molly, for sure.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Molly Sher-Barbie, and I teach dance fitness, and I also teach health. And I've been here for 14 years.
Like we're the same class.
That's right.
Yeah, yep.
And before that, I taught for 2 years at Tri-Point Junior High. So I lived in Fairbury, Illinois, behind Dave's grocery store, which was good. So I could just walk over to get my food. And I taught there for 2 years, and I had a great experience. My health class had 8 students in it. And I taught junior high PE, and it was a great place to start. But they were running low on funding. And so Brian Couples' dad worked there, and he contacted Brian. And so I got to interview here, and I was really thankful. I grew up in Normal, so I'm a townie. I went to Normal Community and had a great experience there. But now I've been at West way longer than I was at Community. So it's been a great experience.
Okay.
Chad Aubin. This is my 6th year teaching here at West, 9th year coaching at West. Went to Eastern Illinois, ran track there, and then my first teaching job was in Delavan, which is west of here, small town. High school had about 100 kids in it. So taught K-12, PE, health, and then for 3 years taught at Metcalf for a year, and then came to Unit 5 in fall of 16. Did some traveling. I was at Evans, Parkside, and Fox Creek for a couple years, then Evans, and then, like I said, in fall of 19 was here at West. So it's been fun to teach and coach here at West, and I teach personal development and sports and fitness right now.
Okay. And head coach of the regional champs.
Head coach of the Big 12 conference champions, back-to-back girls, Lady Wildcats, cross-country team.
Getting a little ahead of yourself.
Sorry.
The
That's
regionals
my
this
bad.
coming weekend. They're going
Okay.
to crush it. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, congrats on that, by
Thank
the
you.
way. So what made each of you want to be a PE teacher? Let's go back around. So we'll start with you. What made you want to be a PE teacher originally?
Yeah, kind of similar to Kurt. I started out in college as a business major. Then after my first year of college, I helped out with a track camp with my college track coach, and just really enjoyed working with the high school kids, and was like, wow, this is way more fulfilling than, a spreadsheet or a Microsoft database or whatever. So I was like, well, I can do, helping kids. I can teach, I can coach, and just have enjoyed it ever since I switched that major and started working with kids. So it's been great.
This is like an anti-business.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
Yeah, sorry, we're kind of throwing shade at the business teachers
I'm not
here.
sure this
but
is actually going to be.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
Yeah. We're going to cut all this.
All right. Well, I was a kid that needed PE. As in elementary school, I could kind of feel it in my body when it was time to go to PE. And every day when we got to the gym, my teacher, Kelly Loy at Glen Elementary, go Glen Eagles, he would have the gym set up with all kinds of crazy equipment, and I just loved it. It was so fun. And then when I would come home from school, the first question my dad would ask me was, "What did you do in PE today?" Because he knew it was going to be something exciting for me to talk about. And so when it came time to make a decision on what my major would be, my parents said, "This is what you've always loved, and this is what you've always talked about. And so why not pursue that?" And I'm so thankful that they supported those passions. And then when I got to college, I decided to minor in health, and I think those really go well together. Teaching health and PE together makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think originally I thought it was going to be making up games all the time. And it's that, but it's also a lot of other things. But when it comes down to it, that's my favorite part of teaching, is coming up with creative things to do with kids. And it's fun. So there's lots of days where I'm like, we're getting paid for this, and I just think if you can find a career like that, you'll be happy.
Yeah.
It's hard to top that. I mean, what are we going to do here? No, I see starting.
Well, you mentioned you hated accounting.
I actually hated school. I am not a fan of school. Like it's going to sound bad. Classroom stuff, it's just not one of my strong suits. I've always been really gifted in sports. It doesn't matter. I've never been the best, but I'm pretty good about anything I do, or used to be. I'm a little old now, but used to be. So something I always excelled at. It was something I didn't have to worry about struggling, which I did in school. And that was funny is when I first started teaching here. Like everybody talked about starting someplace else. This was my first job. Was here at Normal West, and I've been here. I'm going to retire from here. I mean, unless I get fired, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? That could possibly happen down the road. No, you never know. But no, and I decided as we started going through, and I went to, it's something I was good at, and I thought about being an athletic trainer, do all these other things, and then I worked summer camps over and over and over, and I was working with kids, and it was like, this is a no-brainer. I originally wanted to teach junior high. I didn't want to teach high school, but it's hard to pass down a high school job when it's your first job offering, and at Normal West. I mean, it was like with Jerry Crabtree at the time, and it's fun now, but it was fun then too. Yeah. It was a different world, but it's exciting. And to come here, like Molly said, like my son's talking about wanting to get a job as a construction worker. I'm like, do you know how hard you have to work to do like a roofer or electric? I get to come in and I get to play games sometimes. I get to work out. I get to walk around, and it's hard to beat a job like that. And then even when I'm in driver's ed classroom, which is not my favorite suit, but I'm pretty good at it. It's just nice to, you get the kids in there and you got something they want, and they tend to work for you. Yeah. And so, but and that's pretty much me. I'm like here and having fun with it, and got 5-6 more years left, and then I'll probably come back and sub for everybody.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say, from the outside looking in, there's probably some people that think, just being a PE teacher is just all you got to do is roll a ball out there and let them go. So what do you think some misconceptions are about teaching PE or just physical education in general? And you kind of touched on this already, Molly, a little bit.
I think the misconception is that we're just doing activities, right? The physical part of it. I think when you walk through our spaces, you see a lot of movement, but it's the education part that I think is a big misconception. We teach a lot of cognitive things, right? Many of us give written tests, workout plans, projects, forward thinking, right? Research gyms in the area where you can work out, studying the muscles, nutrition, and how it all goes together. And so we also have a whole standard about cooperation and responsible behavior, right? What does it look like to be a teammate? What does it look like to perform a group project together? And that trickles out into all of our other classes. Sometimes it bothers me when we talk about core classes and we're not included. We see all students every day for years. And so we feel like we are core to this school. We know all of our kids. And so I think it's a misconception that we're just doing activity. We're also doing a lot of teaching.
Absolutely. I like to, especially my personal development classes, it's easy to walk by and see them working out and think that, Mr. Robin just told them what they were doing for the day. But we really go through and teach them how to develop their own workout plans. And I tell them, the goal is like after this class, you shouldn't need this class again, because you should be able to understand how to put your own workout together based on whatever your goals are. And you might be able to even be able to help out your friends, your family members with the same thing. And I also think, like Molly said, the teamwork aspect and working with others is so important. And I know in your other classes, you have group projects and different things like that. I think when you're in PE and you're competing against other people and you're working together as a team, those are just skills that you really can't get anywhere else. And so I think it's really beneficial.
Yeah. Wasn't there some talk, a few years ago about politicians basically trying to eliminate PE or other like non-core classes, which, again, I was somebody, I played 3 sports all throughout high school, and if you think about it, the kids are sitting there 8 hours a day. Like they need to get up and move their body around.
2 PE classes.
Right.
Yeah, I would advocate for more PE classes.
Absolutely. So it's just crazy to me that was something that was in discussion. I don't know, is that still a thing?
Like pretty much every year.
Yeah.
They really try to push it because they're just trying to hit the core of science, math, the key ones, but there's so much. It's like, and then the other thing is like the structure and discipline of having 50 kids in a class that you have to try to plan for, and versus having a classroom where they're all sitting in desks and you got 50 kids running around the gym, and you're like, so you think about the educational aspect and the planning and thought process that goes into teaching PE that people don't even like. When I have people come down to cover a class, and they're like, you just see it in their face, like there's 50 kids running around.
Totally.
And they're throwing basketballs are being played or hockey sticks are going, and it's like kind of crazy. But every year the state tries to, or not the state, but people try to get rid of PE. And they're slowly passing some laws in elementary school where they count recess and different things like that as PE credits. So, but every school still has their own standards of what they want to count for PE along with it. But
Yeah, I was actually going to mention that when I was going to ask you what the biggest reward and the biggest challenges of being a PE teacher, because I know from, again, my standpoint, I love sports, played sports forever. And then when I went and subbed one time when I was going back getting my degree, I went and subbed it for a PE class, and I was like, wow, I don't think I could ever do this. Like I needed like the structure. So kudos to you all for being able to, I've subbed for a few of you before. And every time I go down there, I'm like, man, it's just a totally different mindset almost from a teaching standpoint.
That means a lot.
It does. So, again, kudos to all that you do.
These guys are not interested in teaching business classes.
No, I think I feel the same thing whenever I go and covering the classroom, or even when I taught health, I was like, this is too quiet. Like I can't handle everyone being perfect and sitting down and being quiet. And we're like, can we talk about something? Let's get some energy going. Yep. So
yeah, it definitely takes a special person. So, and that's not me, clearly. So, what's the most rewarding and most challenging then part of your jobs?
I would say, my most rewarding part is just when you see just helping students learn, especially when you teach them to do something they couldn't do before. And it could be as simple as, people come to high school and they still can't throw a football or frisbee or whatever. And even something as simple as and they click and it's like, oh, I threw a perfect spiral after you helped me out for 30 seconds, or now I can throw a frisbee. And it's like, they get so excited and you just match that excitement. Like that makes you feel so good. But also all the more important things that we teach as well, as far as health and wellness. But then, I think that the daily struggle is, and something I can kind of take too personally sometimes is like motivating each student, and like each student needs their own different amount of motivation from you, and there's our students that are just harder to reach, and so that just kind of like gnaws at you a little bit when you're like, how do I get this kid to really see the value in what we're doing and participate? And sometimes that can be really challenging, but you just try to show up for especially those students even more, and just try to get them involved.
Yeah. Like even like walk around the track. I think I subbed for you once, and like trying to get a few of them just to walk around the track I was like, man, it's a beautiful day out. Like, why are we?
Yeah, let's see the good in what we got here for at least a little bit. So
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I think the rewarding thing, in dance fitness, we get dancers who are experienced, they've danced all their life. And then we get students in there who just don't want to be hit by a ball in a traditional PE class. And so I really find enjoyment in bringing all those kids together and trying to create a safe space for people to dance. And those ones that were hesitant to take any PE class, I like to try to show them this is a great way to get fitness, and maybe we can catch them before they leave high school, and they find the right thing. That's what I think is great. We have electives, so they get to pick the type of PE that they're in. And I think all of our goal is to try to make sure they leave with their favorite type of fitness, how they're going to carry this into their lives. I also think the really rewarding thing is, in my class at least, we have these final performances, right? We work really hard to create a dance, and when they all come together and we complete like a whole class dance, there's just something so cool. Like I'm looking around the room, and they might not realize this, but we have such a diverse class, right? We have AP students, and we have students that have special needs, and we're creating something really cool and beautiful. And that's cheesy, but I think it's a beautiful thing about our classes that we get everyone. And so our challenge is, can we get everybody to work together? The challenging thing I find is that our classes are getting larger and larger. We lost a position, and so we're advocating to get that position back, but our classes have gone up because of that. And it's hard to connect with 40 and 50 students on a daily basis and really find out, how are you doing, right? That is my wheelhouse. I want to know how people are doing. And so I worry there's some students I didn't even really get to say hi or bye. And I worry about that because I like to form those relationships and check in on students. And it's difficult to provide feedback to that many students, right, and watch that many performances when our classes keep going up and up. So that's another advocacy piece. We want a fair and equitable amount of students in our classes so we can do well with them. So that's the challenge, but the rewards outweigh the challenges, I would say.
Yeah. Well, and with me, I think comes to like, I've been doing it for a few years now, and now I'm starting to get parents or kids of parents that I had in class, and Ms. Franz knows how I'm talking about that. And it's like, you start getting this right here, but like the things that like with driver's ed, I know it's not PE, but it's part of PE, yeah. Driver's ed, and even in PE, I'll go out to when my son was younger, and I would see one of our students out doing youth coaching, coaching and stuff like that. And you think about like you have the impact, or they talk to you about that a little bit, or like with driver's ed, my wife gets a flat tire on Veterans Parkway, and a person stopped to help her, and it happened to be one of my former students. I taught how to change a tire in classroom. So like cool. How it like all revolves around each other when you give a little bit of knowledge to somebody, and it's always going to be payback someplace down the road. And as I'm getting older, I start seeing more of that, from my son's friends, which I had their parents as teacher or as students in school. And, you hear them saying, oh, your class was one of my favorites, or this or that. And it's feel good that you made a difference in people's lives. And with physical education and driver's ed, it's like a life skill, but then both of them are life skills, and getting them ready to like be able to go on and go to Crunch Fitness workout or do whatever they want to do, and bring their little kid up through Little League and play baseball and get some knowledge from that. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Cool.
Today's podcast sponsor is Select Screen Prints. Select Screen Prints has been in partnership with Normal West for over 25 years, providing quality Wildcat apparel at an affordable price. Choose Select Screen Prints for all of your custom t-shirt, sweatshirt, and apparel needs. They now offer digital printing, which allows for fast turnaround, and excellent quality at prices that are less expensive than most online apparel companies. Select Screen Prints is the choice in Bloomington Normal area and beyond. Check them out for your next apparel order.
All right, so my last question for you: if you could get rid of one sport from Team PE, or if you could say, even say maybe one dance, what would it be and why? And then if you had to keep one, what would it be? And by the way, my all-time favorite is: do you guys still play Moonball? Did you ever play that? It was like a Eclipse ball. Or maybe Eclipse ball. It was like a white and black ball.
Yeah, we have it. We have
Is that still a game?
We call it Eclipse ball.
Eclipse ball.
Over
Maybe
the
that's
net.
what.
Is
Yeah,
it over the net? Or
yeah,
is it,
over the net. Yep.
That's one of my favorite games.
Great
but
game.
We don't play it very often.
No.
That's my favorite.
All right, so go ahead. What's your one you had to get
This
rid
is
of?
an unpopular opinion. I would remove dodgeball.
Disagree. Optional.
I was the student that feared that game because I would get hit quite a bit, and then you're out. So it's like boring when you're sitting out and you're like waiting to get back in, and then you're just kind of scared most of the time.
Yeah.
So that would be the one. No more dodgeball.
Actually, I retired from dodgeball too. We had a teacher team here, and they had a dodgeball tournament. Were you on my
I was
team?
in it. I wore a tutu. Yep.
And I remember one team had Alex Jefferson,
But she
who
doesn't like dodgeball.
threw about 90 miles an hour. And then they had somebody else too.
Scary.
And I got hit in the face twice by their fastballs coming straight at me. And I said, I'm done. I'll never do this again. They all got a kick out of it. They got to hit their teacher in the face with a 90 mile an hour dodgeball.
Right.
I said, I'm done. So I'm kind of with you on that. But as a high schooler, it was great. But not when you're an old teacher.
Yeah.
It's still kind of fun. Don't ball at people. But a little different perspective than what
I know.
No, I would say if I was one sport I would get rid of, oh man, it's going to be tough. As a teacher, I really dislike basketball and PE. And you're like, what do you mean? Basketball is a very skilled sport that if they don't have any knowledge of it, it can be really bad as a sport. Like it's really tough to play. So you really have to modify the games down to get some competitive thing. That would be one. The other one it's just hard for me is because it's so new is lacrosse. It's a skilled sport that is even worse than basketball. Like catching that ball and throwing it is extremely difficult. And if our younger grades are not working toward the same skill for us to get them and really be able to, it makes it really tough to play.
Yeah.
But I do like dodgeball.
All right.
Except optional.
That probably is an unpopular
I don't
opinion.
make
It's
everybody.
unpopular, I know.
I would never make everybody play because there are people that don't want to be hit with the ball. And
Yeah.
and we don't want to target people.
Yeah.
We don't want, but there's different ways to play it where it's not the main purpose. So
And you use the little squishy balls
yeah,
now,
the
right?
gator skin
do you remember
balls,
we used
not
to use the big
playground balls?
Yeah,
That was back in the day. That was fun.
Yep.
Especially the small baseball size or softball size ones that you could really
You can
fire.
whip 'em.
But no, times have changed. But
You got one that you dread?
One that I struggle with sometimes is when we're playing softball or wiffle ball. We tend to end the year with softball. We get to go outside, but there's a lot of kids that don't get involved.
A lot of standing around.
Stand around waiting to hit, and
Yeah.
then I try to get real motivational for softball because if you get a class that if the ball gets hit far and then someone's gonna walk to go get it, it's like, oh man, I would rather watch anything else happen than this. But whenever they're competitive and everyone's getting after it, it's pretty good. But just you're standing waiting in line to hit the ball, and then maybe a couple people get to touch the ball in defense. When you're in the field, so maybe I'd get rid of softball, wiffle ball. I'd probably keep ultimate frisbee. That seems to be a big favorite of almost all the students here at West, regardless of what PE class they're in. If you have a day where you're kind of in between units and or obviously in sports and fitness, it is a unit of ours. But kids love ultimate frisbee, and everybody's going down, up and down the floor. And so I really enjoy ultimate frisbee.
maybe when Mr. Weber comes down and joins my 8th hour class, we were playing ultimate frisbee. He was dripping in sweat afterwards because he comes down 8th hour to get his workout in. So anytime we do
I love
that.
coming down to play, so invite me anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime you're playing, I'm
Yeah.
happy to come down.
Well, I'll start announcing our units.
Yes.
There we go.
Via the
Okay.
staff email,
Yep.
so you guys can come down
Yep.
whatever suits you.
I'm in. I'm in. All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
for having
Hopefully,
us.
everybody got to know a little bit more about you all and about what you do as PE teachers here. And I know I can speak for all of us. We appreciate everything that you do.
Thank you.
Keep up the good
Appreciate that.
work.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep.